Hello everyone, this is Mumbo here, welcome back, and today we're going to be taking a look at a fairly interesting little mechanism. It is extremely common throughout all of my redstone builds, and that is the bud switch. I've noticed in the comment section of some of my more recent videos, a lot of you don't fully understand what a bud switch is, and what it does, so I thought I would make this video to explain to you once and for all what bud switches are and how to use them, so by the end you should be fluent in understanding on how to use block update detectors effectively. So let's get the ball rolling by defining exactly what the bud is. It stands for block update detector, and it pretty much does what it says on the tin. It activates when there are block updates. Now these come in all sorts of shapes and forms. For example, we have got ourselves a bud piston right here, and if we place a block right next to it, you will see that we get ourselves a redstone output up at the top. Now this is very useful for various different farms, redstone torch keys, and other bits and bobs, but some of the things that it also activates over are if we place a fire right next to the piston, you will see we get it to extend. If we open up this chest, that is considered a block update, and the piston will extend. And on top of that, if we place redstone one block away from the piston, it will also consider it a block update, which is a fairly interesting mechanic, but I wouldn't get your mind too far into that one just yet. Now what you see over here is known as a bud switch, and we'll get onto those in a little bit, but before we do, I just want to take you through some of the mechanics to do with budded pistons so that you can understand what is going on. So what we have is 3 different pistons, all of which can be used as buds. If we just turn this on, you will see that this block is powered, but this piston isn't extending, and that is because the power is diagonal to the piston. It shouldn't extend, but if we cause it a block update, you will see that the piston does extend. This is the premise of the block update detector, because when we take away that block, you will see that the piston stays extended even if we turn off that redstone, and it will only retract when we cause it another block update. The same goes for this piston here. As you can see, when we turn this block on, the piston hasn't extended, and that is because technically this block should not power this piston, but the piston will extend if we cause it a block update, as you can quite clearly see. And that is the mechanic that we have used in this first bud switch here. We've got a power block, one block above the piston will only extend when we cause the piston a block update. And as you can see here, if we turn off this block and then cause the piston another update, it will retract. Like I say, this is the main mechanic of pretty much all of the bud switches. As we saw earlier, these 3 pistons will only extend when a block update causes them to. But the good thing about pistons is they actually cause block updates to the blocks around them when they extend and retract. So as you will see, if we place in pistons all the way along like this, flick this lever, both of the pistons extend at the exact same time. And it is the same for this one, and also the same for this one. Now this is an incredibly useful mechanic, and can allow for very compact circuits, especially for things like doors. For example, here we have got a 2x2 piston door with all of the redstone up at the top. Very simple indeed. When we flick this lever, you will see that all of the pistons extend at the exact same time, and that is because this block here is powering this piston directly, but it is also bud powering this bottom piston. Now when we flick the lever, turn it on, this piston will extend automatically and immediately update the bottom piston, allowing it to extend at the exact same time. And the same thing happens for the retraction. So when we turn it off, this piston retracts, updates this piston to say, hey, you need to retract as well, and it does it immediately. I really do hope you're still following, because this is all getting a little bit complicated, but in front of us we have got 3 different bud switch designs, all of which are good for 3 different things. The first one is good because it is just so simple. We've got a sticky piston, a slime block, and then a redstone power block. The redstone power block is 1 block above the piston, which means that this is bud powered and it will extend when you cause it a block update. This next one is perfect for use in farms. As you can see, when we place down this melon, it gets completely obliterated by the piston. Obviously, you could put a little melon stalk right there, it will grow straight on that block, and then you can push it off into a bunch of hoppers, which is very useful indeed. So if we head over here, I will quickly show you how to build it. All you need to do is place a sticky piston with a redstone power block on its face, and then a regular piston there, and this is where your block is going to be going. So then you want to place 2 blocks along like this, redstone dust, a repeater running straight into a block with redstone dust on the top, and then you want to take your blocks up like this and run a line of redstone along like that. Now one thing that you should know is that we can do a full line of pistons going all the way along like this. All you have to do is extend your line of redstone, and then each and every one of these will be a bud piston and will work like normal, which means it is perfect for various different farms, for example a sugarcane farm. And if you do want to see a tutorial on that one, then I'll put a link to that down in the description of a recent farming video I did. This last one is incredibly useful because it is completely flush with the wall, but it works like every other block update detector, as in when I place the block, it extends the piston, giving us a redstone output. So quickly, I'll show you how to build this one as well. You want a sticky piston with a redstone block on its face, then you want a block here, redstone dust, and you want to carry that up just like this, all the way up here with redstone dust on top of all of those, a block, a repeater running straight into a block, and that is the entire bud switch done. So as you can see, when we place down our block, the piston extends, giving us a redstone output. And just as you thought you had it all worked out, I'm now going to throw a little bit of a spanner in the works, because what you can see in front of you uses a completely different mechanic. All the ones that we've seen beforehand use diagonal or above powering. This one, on the other hand, uses redirecting redstone current using a detector rail. Now, it's a little bit more complicated and definitely not as common as the original bud switch, but it does have its uses. For example, we have got this hands-free minecart launch system. If we place down the minecart, you can see that the powered line isn't actually powered, even though this redstone current is on. Now, this piece of string here is going to cause the block update when we sit down, and you will see that it all turns on, and then the bud switch resets itself. The way that this one works really is quite cool. As you can see, when we hit this button to simulate a reset, you will see that the redstone power turns on when it is pointing into the detector rail. But then the detector rail is retracted and the redstone starts pointing into this block, but the block doesn't realize it yet. Now, 9 times out of 10, you are going to want to use this type of bud switch. This is very uncommon, and also it is fairly complicated as well. I don't particularly use them that often. So for the sake of keeping things simple, I'm going to ignore this type of bud switch for today's video, unless of course you really want to see a video on these sorts of things explained. If so, let me know down in the comments section. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for today. I hope that you have found this useful. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.